What's happening, Wisdom Warriors? Back at it for another video. How's everybody doing? Happy Sunday. We're back at it for another Sunday sermon. And we're just gonna go off the cuff and just riff a little bit and see where things take us. I want to kind of go off of the the lunar eclipse that we just had, and kind of bounce off kind of the energies that we're feeling, we're gonna feel, what we're experiencing, because I know a lot of people currently are waking up. And if you aren't right now, you've woken up in the last few months, or you're having awakenings of all kinds. And I want to just share a little bit of my experiences in this video, and also just some things to look out for, and just some things we can do to be better prepared for what's coming, and how to navigate, and just the awareness is key. Awareness is so important to our everyday lives, and how we move through our life every day. So I want to just give as much guidance as I can, and assistance, and just share my experiences and share my story, like I've talked about in many other things on this channel. I'm excited because this week I'm going to be getting together with an individual, and we're going to collaborate. He has a channel, and we're going to collaborate on just bringing both of our experiences together and coming full circle, and maybe at some point, if it really takes off and you guys really enjoy it, we'll come on live on his channel and my channel, and together, and you guys can answer questions, and we can just have some fun, and we'll see what the future holds. I don't know yet. It's a plan. It's a little bit of something I want to talk about, because it's something that I picked up on from a teacher that I listened to, and when she said it in another way, it didn't make sense, it didn't click. But then I heard it, I don't know, it's got to be months later, and I heard it in a different way, and it clicked. I'm like, see, you don't want to cancel somebody out right away. Maybe right in that moment you didn't click with what they had to say. And you never know what gems they have at different times in your life that may help you on your path and your journey. So hey, it's best to just take what resonates and leave what doesn't. And maybe down the pipeline something will resonate, or maybe something will click. But one of the things she said, and I heard it in a different way and I understood it now, when we project into the future and we try to control, say, I'm going to meet this person, and this is how it's going to go down, and this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to meet, and controlling every aspect of it, right? Instead of just setting the intention, oh, I want to meet a partner, I want to meet a companion to travel the world and do this and do that, and who has unconditional love for me, and I have unconditional love for them, and we just can talk about deep conversations and like-minded conversations, and have a soul connection. And okay, you can say all those details, right? And that's a plan. I would like to meet that. And maybe set a specific date. Maybe say within the next year, or within the next couple years, I would like to settle down, and I would like this, and I would like maybe a certain amount of kids and whatever. I'm just giving general examples for anyone out there. See, that is creating a plan. That's okay. When you start to like nitpick and come with these details and say, I'm going to meet them here and there and do this and do that, or whatever the case may be, that's not your job. That is projecting into the future. That is trying to control every aspect of it. And that is for the universe to do. You just intend it. You make a plan and say, this is what I want in this amount of time. That's okay to have goals and things like that. But when you're projecting it into the future, then you're creating fear, you're creating anxiety, you're creating worry. All of it because you're trying to control it instead of just throwing up your hands and saying, I'm letting go. I am going to intend this, set the intention. I'm going to set a plan, and I'm going to let go. I'm going to let it go out to the universe, right? And then you will see how much less anxiety you have, how much less worry and fear, because now you're co-creating what you want with the universe. And you're allowing the universe to make the moves like a chess piece is on a chessboard. You're allowing the universe to create so you're essentially co-creating with the universe. And that's the biggest part that we lose sight of. We try to control, we try to force, and like, I want this now, I need this now in my life, I have to have this now. And usually, majority of the time when we do that, we create chaos, fear, worry, control. It's all a part of the same dynamic. And it doesn't end up usually turning out the right way. It doesn't turn out peacefully. It doesn't happen smoothly. Not to say that the other way does either, because I'm going to tell you right now, as I've experienced in my life, and as I say always, I don't talk about anything I haven't experienced. I've intended things, I've prayed for things, and then I'm like, man, it's taking way too long, and I try to force it, and I try to control, and I try to bring it in my life myself, and it usually doesn't end up the right way. It usually ends up not good, as you probably have seen in your own life. But then also the other caveat to it is you could be intending and you could be praying and you could be wishing for this, whatever you want to bring in and into your life, and then it could, maybe, let's say it takes like 5, 7 years, 10 years. I mean, there's no time and space in the spiritual realm. There's no time. It's an illusion. It doesn't exist. So they're always moving around, taking out people, bringing people in, letting things go, letting addictions go. Maybe you have to bring the type of food to a different level. Maybe you have to let go of some addictive foods you have. Whatever the case may be, I don't know your story. But you may have to do all of these things for that person or that thing or that place you're planning on going to come in, or for you to move there, or you move somewhere else, or relocate, or whatever. Like I said, I don't know your story, and I don't know what you're looking for, and what you're intending, and what you're praying for. So I can't really I'm giving generalized, answers, or generalizing it. So let's say like it may take like 5 to 7 years, and then it gradually, as that 7th year comes up, you start getting closer and closer, right? And you start feeling it and sensing it, but yet you've changed so much to the point where you don't feel like that's what you want anymore. Well, I can tell you this right now. That's the caveat. It's going to happen no matter what. And I'm not putting fear, that's not my intention. I'm not intending to put the fear of God in you or put fear in you in any way. Just know that spend as much time as you can really, really deep thinking on what you really want before you ask and before you intend on it. Because there's no guarantee when it's going to come. It could be a month, it could be 10 years. And when that comes in, you brought it in. You co-created it with the universe. And now the universe has to deliver. And you may not want it. You may not want to make that move now when they asked, or when you intended it and when it came to fruition. And I realized that when it happened to me in 2015, 2017, going into 2018, 2020, I realized at that time I didn't want it as much as I thought I did, but the universe always knows what's best for us more than we know what's best for us. And but the mere fact of the matter is I started to see the furniture disappear. I started to see the rooms disappear. I started to see all my stuff disappear. And then I'm like, oh shit, what did I do? Like, I've been co-creating this for years. And then when it started to happen and it started to come in, maybe it was too soon for me. Maybe it was, I just wasn't ready mentally. I don't know at the time, but I know that I was losing it. I know that I had to kind of out of sight, out of mind type of thing while things were happening and transitioning, but I saw it happening. And I was like, oh my God, this is something that is... Now, mind you, you could change it. You could do something different while it's happening. It's usually not going to turn out too well, though, or it's not going to feel right. Because that is something that you've already like pulled into your existence, or you've upped your frequency and vibration to that level that you needed to be for that to happen. So that's the caveat that I talk about. Because some things don't happen right away. Some things take a really long time in the physical to come to fruition. And it's not always right away. Now you can make something happen right away, like going out and buying that thing that you didn't have the money for, and then you're going to find out that other things in your life are now going to take a back seat, and you're going to have money issues because you're forcing that thing in that wasn't ready to come in yet. Maybe some other things we needed to be taken out before that other thing came in. You know, there's always a reason for everything, and if we try to force and we try to rush things that are not meant to be at that moment or aren't ready, usually majority of the time it doesn't work out. Majority. I mean, I haven't seen one time that it did when it was forced. You know, or we tried to make it happen faster than it was meant to be happening. And we can do that. I mean, it's difficult to go from the spiritual realm to come here to the physical, and things take so much longer, right, than it does in the spiritual realm. You can bring things into existence instantaneously. And here, it's so much slower because of this dense third dimension that we're in. And imagine how it would be if we were these master manifestors, every single one of us, and we can manifest instantaneously. Not to say that there isn't people that can do it, not to say that it doesn't happen to us on a regular basis, but if it happened where you could just manifest a car every time you wanted one, every second, or brought creations in instantaneously, I mean, the world would be so cluttered, you know, with shit everywhere. People would be creating just left and right. It would be just chaotic. So it just can't be that way. It's the way it is for a reason. Just like everything else is for a way is the way it is for a reason. And you know, so when you feel the anxiety and you feel the fear and you feel the worry and the, you know, and you're controlling and you feel that in the body, that is a sign that you're projecting into the future. And that is a sign to come back to your breath and follow your chest rising and falling like my shirt, you know, breath. Funny that, you know, I'm wearing this shirt and we're talking about breath. That is the fastest way to come into the present moment in the now, to get you out of projection into the future, to get yourself out of trying to control everything, to get yourself out of trying to or having that worry or fear or anxiety. Bring yourself back to the breath. Pay attention to your chest rising and falling. Pay attention to your breath going in and out. I also gave you guys many times the 4-7-8 method, which is breathe in 4, hold for 7, breathe out for 8. And that really does bring you down to peace and ground you in any moment that you could be in. That is the fastest way to ground yourself. Just follow the chest rising and falling, no matter what you're in. Knee deep in quicksand, follow your breath. Just really scared about giving a lecture in front of thousands of people, follow the breath. Doing something that you're extremely scared of, follow the breath. Pay attention to your chest rising and falling. It is the fastest way to ground yourself. I've had a massive journey with the breath, like massive. I've went through major panic attacks. Fortunately, never went to the hospital. Fortunately, I sat with them and learned techniques when you're going through them to ride it out, to then be on the other side of it, because they only really last a very short. I mean, I don't remember. I don't want to give you misinformation, but I think it's like 5 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. And it may be the longest 5 minutes of your life, but when you sit there and pretend that you are chained to the chair, metaphorically, hypothetically speaking, that's what I did. I pretended like I was just chained to the chair and that I couldn't move. And I was taught this. I stumbled upon this individual on YouTube that I think was like in Switzerland or something, and he talked about it. And he said, if you just sit through it for this amount of time, and it wasn't really that long. Like I said, the most it could have been was like 5 minutes. It might have been less. But when you're in it, it feels like eternity, and I know that. And I can tell you from experience, you're like hyperventilating and all kinds of jazz. But when you can actually just sit there and sit with it, the body is just trying to, these are all suppressed emotions and feelings that you've been pushing down for so long that are trying to come up. And you've hit that trigger point to force them up. And then they're coming out and they want to be seen. They just want you to see it and feel it and sit through it. And I did. And because there was another time where I didn't, and then I read this thing or I listened to his video telling me that if you don't do that, you can be stuck in it for weeks, like a panic attack. I'm not trying to scare you, but this is the stuff I learned. This was back in 2017. And again, I had one that was pretty severe in 2020, not as much as the ones in 2017. But what triggered that onset was like, it was really foggy out, and I got in the car. I remember going on the highway and I couldn't see, and that wasn't really it. It was something deeper than that, and it just triggered one in the car. And then after that, I couldn't get back in the car and drive alone. And then I also had one where I ran outside and it was dark, and that triggered one too, and that was around 2020 or so. So at that time, 2017, 2018, I was still like getting more familiar with the breath. I was practicing things I found on YouTube at that time that had to do with the breath, like breath holds and things like that. But these were multiple awakenings. And then, probably when I was like 12 years old, I keep talking about it because it was around those ages, like 12, 15. I think even in my 20s, I had another awakening, because we get pulled back into the matrix, and then we get pulled back in. And so probably a lot of us have had multiple awakenings throughout our lives in different ways. And then you hit these really severe health challenges because you're like meant to be shook. shook to the point where you really awaken, and then you really start veering on your path of spirituality and that spiritual awakening. But there's a lot of us that chose not to come here and awaken. A lot of us, you know. I definitely was, I wouldn't say unfortunate, because I'm grateful that I have, because I'm here and I'm able to like bring these experiences and this knowledge to you all. And I don't think I would take back anything I've gone through, to be honest with you, as much as it's been the hardest, challenging life I can say. Mind you, I don't remember some of the other ones. I mean, I've had hundreds of them. So again, though, we're experiencing these lives simultaneously. So it's not really like a past life, because it's kind of like one and the same, so to speak. It's weird. I'll go deeper in that on another video. But I want to kind of talk about these energies with, the lunar eclipse, and us transitioning from Taurus and Libra and Capricorn and Scorpio, and the Mercury retrograde. And I want to go a little bit into that on this video, because this is the sermon, and I also wanted to briefly go into a little more depth of the depression I've experienced, and just not feeling like I belong, not feeling like I was meant to be here, but yet I'm kind of veering more towards it now, and getting more clarity as I lighten up my energies, because I'm shedding these traumas and these old patterns and these old addictions, and I'm becoming lighter, and in that my light shines brighter. And in these Akashic Records readings that I've been doing, I keep getting messages from these masters and my dad, and that I've been walking out of the tunnel, the dark tunnel, and I'm leaving that, and I'm coming towards the sun, and I feel the shifts, I feel them happening. I see the magic starting to happen. I see I'm drawing in like-minded individuals, people that I can collaborate with, people that I can talk to on deep levels, stuff that I've been seeking my entire life. I'm seeing the number of synchronicities and the messages my dad's bringing me, about him passing me the torch, and him laying the groundwork, and then him passing me the torch, and then I'm continuing on, in a different way than the way that he did it. I'm essentially creating a new way, and the right people are going to be drawn to my new creations of doing the same thing but in a different way. Just like you've seen people write songs, billions of songs, and yet you still get drawn to certain ones because it's been done in a different way. It's been created in a whole new way, or a new genre of music, or a new channel on YouTube that brings the same exact content that you heard somebody else talking, but it came to you in a different way. It came to you with that person having a different light shining. So you were drawn to it, but it was the same kind of content, just in a different way, brought to you through their experiences, through their challenges. Maybe it's just somebody just sitting on in front of a video camera, but yet the way that they experienced those same experiences was completely different. So they're bringing it to you in a different way, and you're being drawn to it in a different way. And you're like, oh my God, I resonate with that. When in actuality, you just heard it on another channel in a different way, but yet now you're being drawn to it, and you're like, oh my God, this really resonates with me. And they're not really doing much. They're not really doing anything really too different, other than their experience was different. Their trauma and their pain was different, and they've maybe released it, or lightened their load, or their light is shining brighter, in a way that you connect with them, you know? So that's what a lot of us are here to do, is create things in a new way, bring it in a whole nother way, share it in another way, our experiences, because a lot of people have gone through a lot of the same things but differently, because you walked a different path, you walked in different shoes, you walked in a different body. You could have somebody say that 10 different people had Lyme, but they experienced it completely different, right? Their journey was completely different of how they got to the end result, if they did. And yet there's 10 million books on Lyme and mold, you know, but yet each person dealt with it in a different way, got it in a different way, experienced it in a different way, and now they can share their story in a different way, and bring different techniques and different avenues of ways of healing and ways of learning. And as this iguana or lizard, like big lizard, is like walking on the screen of the window outside. I don't know if that means anything. I'll have to look that up. But I haven't seen that happen, like at least anytime recently. So, you know, like another example, my dad had cancer 3 different times, right? There's thousands and thousands, maybe millions of people that have had cancer. And yet, people resonated with his story. The way that he brought the story forward, the way that he healed was completely different than the way that somebody else did it. And the way that he shared the story was completely different. The way his heart was open, the way the vulnerability, the transparency, the authenticity of it was different than somebody else telling their story. And maybe you resonated with him, but you didn't resonate with somebody else. Maybe you understood it and you were ready listening it from him, but not from somebody else. Or maybe that book made sense to you and another book didn't, you know? So that's why there's so many creators and out there creating the same thing, reinventing the wheel a million billion times, yet to bring the same information but a completely different way, through a completely different journey, through a completely different experience. And that's why we go on a platform like YouTube, and there's 1,000 different people cooking food on there, sharing their way of cooking. Could be the same thing, but in a different way, with a different light, with a different experience. Maybe they had different experiences cooking that same dish, you know? So, yeah, it's really, really interesting, and it's mind-blowing at the same time. And everyone connects with different people at different times. And that's kind of like what I was told from my dad in the Akashic Records and from the masters in the Akashic Records, to not focus on the likes and the subscribes and the comments, and just let that be, and just bring the content forward until I don't feel like I align with it anymore, and then to do something else. And if maybe tomorrow I don't feel like doing a video and then the next day I do, that's okay to do that, you know. And that's the way we need to do things going forward in general. If you feel good about something, then you do it. If you don't, then you don't. And that doesn't matter what it is. If you don't feel good about eating that food, then you don't eat it that day or that moment. But you don't judge yourself for it. You just don't do it. And you move on. You find something different. Maybe the next day you will resonate with it. Maybe the next day you will want to have it. You know, and that's the beauty of life and experiencing everything. You know, and that you have the right to do that because it's your life. Like my dad said, it's my life. I choose what I want in it and what I don't, what I want to eat and what I don't, what I want to do and what I don't want to do. You know, you have the right to make those choices. And then you can feel if it's in alignment with you or not. And the more and more you can bring yourself to presence, and to present moment, is the more you can feel in the body what feels good and what doesn't. and you can follow the feeling more and more, and you will harness that feeling, and you will know what that feeling feels like. And all these situations that we experience are just teaching us those feelings, what feels good and what doesn't. And that is so magical and so powerful that we can have these experiences. But I see so many people tending to, like, oh God, this doesn't feel good. Like, I'm like feeling so much anxiety and fear and worry. And are you looking at what you're doing, what you're putting yourself around, what you're eating, what you're not eating, where you are, what you're doing on a daily basis? All of those things play a pivotal role in why you're not feeling good in the body and why you are. And a lot of times we just force ourselves to do things that we don't want to do, regardless of how we feel in the body. So what do you think the body is going to do? The body is going to get louder and louder and louder to remind us, hey, this is not, you're not listening. You're not listening. You don't like this, but you're still doing it. You don't enjoy this food, but you're still eating it. It doesn't feel good in the body, but you're still eating it. Right? So this eclipse, or this lunar eclipse in Scorpio, is bringing us to look in the mirror. It's forcing us to look in the mirror, to stop doing things we don't want to do anymore. You know, if you don't like, there's been different individuals that I've found on the internet to do different kinds of editing and, you know, creative art and different things like that. And it's so funny that I keep coming full circle back to this one individual that I didn't even realize that he was waiting on me for the content, and I thought he didn't answer me. But in actuality, for some reason, I had 4 people respond to me in the last couple days, and then for some reason I clicked on the messages that we had, and in the messages, I had wrote him back in February telling him, okay, I'm going to speak to the co-host and I'm going to get the information to you in a text file. And I said, thank you. And he said, thank you. And then I never got back to him. Lo and behold, I didn't even realize that he was waiting on me. And yet I'm sitting here saying that he doesn't want to work with us. He didn't answer. And in actuality, it was me that didn't answer. And funny thing is, like, the 4 individuals I contacted, I really wasn't resonating with them. Well, I sent some examples to the co-host, and he really didn't like the artwork. And he's right. And funny thing is, we keep going back to the same one, and his artwork is just blows all of them out the water. And that's what I mean by going with the feeling of, does it feel good to work with these other individuals? For some reason, it felt good with this gentleman. But yet, it hasn't worked out for whatever reason. Yet, it still feels in alignment. It still feels good to work with him. And I feel like it's going to work out. It just wasn't the right timing. We weren't ready for that yet on the podcast. Because as I said, there's a podcast I've been working on for over a year now. I will be, once we get the little quirks worked out on the website, I'm going to announce it on here. And once I can get it on Spotify and potentially Apple TV, and I have to figure out how to do that all. And once that we get to that point, then I'm going to announce it when it's on those platforms, along with the website, because we have other things on the website that we're working on that are going to be offered, which I'm excited about. So yeah, we'll announce that. Don't worry, you'll hear, plenty of time to hear about it. But that's what I mean by going with the feeling, and that's what I was told. Go with the feeling, feel it. Feel if it feels good, and if it doesn't feel good, then don't do it. If it feels good, do it. Me doing the practice sessions of the Akashic Records feels good. I enjoy it. I enjoy that connection with the people that I'm meeting, and then we're going into each other's records. I enjoy it right now. So I'm going to keep doing it. I enjoy every day laying down and doing the breath work. I've been doing it for over 6 months. I enjoy doing the yoga, Kundalini yoga. These are things that that feel good, that I'm following the feeling. And that's what we have to do going forward. And that's what we're going to be forced into doing. All these different shifts that we're having in energy, like this lunar eclipse, is a shake-up. It's essentially a shake-up. God, the divine source, whatever you call it, whatever you want to call it, is coming in with these energies to shake humanity up, to shake us out of these stuck places that we're in, because a lot of people will not just walk away from their job, even though they hate it, even though it sucks, even though they are not on their path, but they're doing it because, oh, it's a steady paycheck, or it's stable, I feel stable in it, or it's a steady paycheck, I'm doing it. And the universe is like, nope, time is up. Like, you need to start getting on that path. So that shake-up comes in, that tower moment. That's essentially what these energies are coming in, that are gonna force. They're gonna force you out of a situation that you wouldn't have walked away on your own. You wouldn't have walked out of that situation, that job, that relationship, whatever the case may be, so it's being forced apart by the universe. And that's not a bad thing, that's a good thing. It will feel bad in the moment, but when the dust settles, you will be on the other side, and it will be the happiest place you can imagine. But this has to happen because we keep going as a collective, because we're all connected. We keep going in these same patterns, the same bullshit of staying where we don't belong, staying where we don't feel good about staying, and we're doing it anyway. Because, oh, I get a paycheck every week. Oh, it feels secure. Oh, I'm comfortable at where I am for the last 50 years, 30 years, whatever. And the universe is like, no, this is not serving your highest good. There needs to be a shake-up. We need to shake humanity free. We need to free them from the things they've been doing that don't serve their highest good. And that is the whole point of this lunar eclipse. To force us out of those situations that we won't walk away on our own. So we have to be forced out of it. We have to be shook, you know? So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I feel like that's a great place to finish the video. Shit, we're like 37 minutes in. I feel like that's a perfect spot to finish it off. I think and feel like I got everything out that I wanted to get out in this moment. I'm sure there was more, but I did begin to record a video earlier. And I think I was like 15 or 18 minutes in and my battery exhausted. And I'm like, what? I charged that thing. It was fully charged. And I actually see this one already a notch down. So I believe on this battery I got a lot more time, but I think we're at a perfect spot. I don't want to overwhelm you with too much information. Want to give you a chance to digest it and process it and understand it. Yeah, man, if you haven't already, please subscribe, please comment, please share, please like. And to be honest with you, I was trying to figure out a way to merge the two videos together, or continue recording it without having to edit it. Continue recording it from where I left off, but I'll have to figure that out if that's even possible without editing it. For if it happens another time, you know. But I actually think that this video came out way better, and that there's a reason that happened. Everything is always meant to happen the way it happens, because the content was similar, but not where I needed to take it like this one was. So if you haven't already, like I said, please subscribe, please comment, please share, please like. I love reading your comments. I love hearing your feedback. I love just the community, us sharing, and us. You never know who you meet in the comments. A great friend, a long-term friend, relationship, a like-minded individual. You just don't know. So why not step out and try and help grow and build this community, share it out so we can get more subscribers, so we can get more people to hear the content that need it. I love you all so much. I hope you enjoyed the Sunday sermon today. You know, I'm right now, it's a weekly thing every Sunday, if you don't know. For right now, it feels good right now, and I will continue it as long as it feels good in the body. When it doesn't feel good anymore, it'll become something else, or I'll just take it away. But for now, we'll leave it. As long as you guys are enjoying it, please comment if you do like it. I really enjoy bringing these sermons to you all. And, I just love the community that we're building, and our subscriber counts are going up, and people are resonating with the content. And, and that's exactly what is supposed to happen, versus how many likes, how many subscribes, how many comments, even though I enjoy reading them and replying and interacting with you all, I still am not going to focus on that anymore. I'm letting go of that. I'm surrendering to just, I'm here to be a vessel to bring this content forward and to share my experiences. And, the channel is going to grow into all kinds of things and places and, foods. And, I did a little bit of that in the beginning, but I want to get back to that, sharing foods and things I do on a daily basis, and, the vlogging. But we'll get there, man, in time. I do whatever feels right, and whatever you guys call to, want me to bring to you, I bring. So with that being said, again, happy Sunday, happy sermon. I love you all so much. Take care of yourself and each other, from my heart to yours. I love you all so much. Until next time, see you soon. Let's go, Wisdom Warriors, we got this!